Well, hey, Gundam Maniacs, welcome to the Gundam Explain Show. I'm your host, Adam Blue. Joining me is Steven of Midnight Hatter. What's up, man?
Not a whole lot. How are you doing?
Doing good. So yesterday's show was awesome. You know, I love the storytelling stuff we do. We'll probably do a little bit of that here in a second because I saw Predator Badlands and it was badass. See what I did there? Um, that was no,
Wait,
but
did you go and see it again already?
no,
Okay,
possibly tomorrow. Actually, I've
nice.
already talked to the wife about it, but no, because your show yesterday was cool. So these are two-parters. I always explain. And yesterday, the kind of the villain angle, how modern storytelling versus how Gundam storytelling explores villains, not only just in their actions, but the origins, what makes them evil or not. I thought that was a really awesome conversation and really gave me some ideas for the story I'm writing. So, but you know what? I don't think we talked about any of your projects yesterday.
No, I think I kept a lot of that stuff close to the vest.
Okay. Is there anything you can talk about that you've been working on in the past week?
Yeah, I'm still obviously a couple weeks ago we did some live 3D modeling, which was a lot of fun, and that those mechs that we're designing are going to end up in the final video game that I'm working on.
Right.
So
Cool.
hopefully here in the next couple of weeks I'll have a sort of minimal viable product that I can share with people and we can
Ah,
start to break down the gameplay and stuff. But a lot of it, goes back to what we were talking about last night, which is just storytelling. And you know, I only discovered a couple of years ago that video games and gaming as a storytelling medium are an interesting way to communicate because you more than any other storytelling medium, you involve the player, you involve the audience in the story, and you kind of give them some agency, or at least you can. It's not
yeah.
not every video game is perfect. Not every video game does this well, but there are a
No,
lot of video games that use gameplay elements to inform
and
the story.
no, that is true. And I remember when we were talking yesterday how I was exploring the types of stories I like to tell, so I can lean into that. And it's more of like I'm about the lore, the world that characters are then in. And so to relate it to a game, when you're playing a game, a lot of times you're then thrust into this world. There is the environment. You're walking through the environment. You know, it's and I think Castlevania is a good example because they're able to do the music, um, the environments, the artwork, and even like the enemies. You know, whatever it kind of builds on this world you're in, and then you just pick up the lore, you know, as you go. As maybe there's a little bit of dialogue here or there, maybe the design of something somewhere, you know, which is again the stuff I really like in what they do in movies and TV shows, and I think it's also can be characterized in the villains. So like we were talking about yesterday, you know, but
Definitely.
so and then this the storytelling angle I think is even bigger because I think today the key to nailing a movie, especially a big budget movie, is tone. And I think
Mm,
what happened was Marvel found this like way where you can have this sort of very dynamic and out there tone. And I think it was like the period maybe around, you know, Guardians of the Galaxies, maybe even I don't know when Taika Waititi started his but it's where things got a little too goofy to where it's
yeah.
more of those jokes could work, but now the tone is anywhere,
Well,
right?
and I think you brought this up last night on the show when you talked about when a show or a movie like starts subverting itself and it starts kind of poking fun at itself. So you brought up the example of
Yeah,
Burn Notice, where it's
yeah,
like they started to realize the tropes that were going on in the show, and so then it became like an inside joke.
yeah,
And so that's kind of what has happened with Marvel movies is that
yeah,
it's almost like the cast and crew of the movie are kind of pointing at the movie and saying like, "Isn't this silly? Like this whole thing that we're doing?"
exactly. Like we're all in it,
Yeah,
you know?
we're all in it together,
Yeah,
but at the same time, that diminishes the stakes of what's happening, and
yeah,
so it's very
exactly.
hard to see like a world-ending threat like a Galactus or a Thanos, and then you have people kind of joking, "Oh, I'm a superhero. I'll never get killed, and then I'm gonna blow this guy's head off, and oops, I didn't mean to do that." Like, it's just very like it's very cynical,
Well, you know, and to explain it even more, this is gonna sound bad, but I'm gonna relate it to AFI. When they came out with the Sing the Sorrow album, it took them a few years, and that was the first time that they went so long between albums. but it's now because they had a lot of money. So they were treating each song like they would treat an entire album.
Yeah.
And so that's what was happening to these Marvel movies. They were getting so much of a budget. They're like, hey guys, funny idea for a scene. And then they would, as if it was one toned movie, they would just focus on that scene and make it be funny. And then they'd have another idea, and then they would focus and not really have a cohesive tone. And that's why
Yeah.
these things work great in trailers and all that. And so I think you lose a little bit of that. And I think that's what I was saying, a good modern director knows how to rein in that tone and really keep it solidified and consistent, which Predator Badlands is probably the best example of nailing tone when based on the relative source material.
Yeah.
Because it's interesting that, the original Predator is an Arnold Schwarzenegger action movie that's also a horror alien sci-fi film, which if you don't know about Arnold Schwarzenegger or care about him, it's just a horror alien sci-fi film. If you don't care for horror movies, you're watching an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, which that's a very interesting dynamic of a movie in the 80s,
That seemed to be like kind of a popular trope in the 80s where it was like you would have this kind of gritty, down to earth action flick, but under the surface, there was like either some crazy like sci-fi or fantasy subtext going on,
yeah,
like a subplot that was not related to I mean, even something like RoboCop, where it's like,
yep,
if you take RoboCop himself out of it and you just make it like a straight up cop story
in
about
that
corporations running
setting,
Detroit, like
yeah.
that plays like you know, that plays like any other Detroit like cop movie. But then like once you add in this fantastic element of a cyborg cop, then it takes on this whole fantastical
Well,
tone,
and
like
I
you
would even
said.
say, even with Terminator, where you got this guy hunting down this lady, on one point, oh, it's a robot. But then it's like, oh, from the future. Oh, from the future when humans and AI had a war. So it's like, oh, okay, it could be one of these many things. And
And to your point, it's like in Terminator, he's not even like a robot. Like he walks around in
yeah,
skin. So it's like he could
exactly.
have like all of this
Yeah.
is just context around the
Which is
story of
great.
a
And
man chasing a woman.
And that I will say that, that's pretty good. I'll say that goes back to like my Castlevania thing. It's just a
Yeah.
side-scrolling game, but it's dressed up so well in this awesome gothic horror setting where the control I have, I feel like a badass in this story. So yeah. So back to Predator Badlands. From what I was saying about Arnold Schwarzenegger or Predator, those '80s movies, what this does is it becomes what the Marvel movies originally nailed, and that is that tone with whatever the source material is. Because Iron Man, who cares? I don't care, but that was a pretty good movie. And then even from then,
Yeah.
those Marvel movies were pretty good with tone, being able to be a comic book action movie. Because in Predator Badlands, they lore dump on you immediately. I mean,
Now is it Christopher Nolan bad where it's like one character just starts explaining
no,
everything? Like, here are the rules.
no, I mean that some of the first text you see is some words, and it says from the Yautja Codex. I'm talking deep lore type of stuff, okay? And then immediately there's action, and there's just action throughout, and it's not like the horror of like, uh-oh, the predator's around the corner. It's more of, so this is what the predator does in here in this setting. Even though they're still about honor and being a warrior and hunting and but they're doing it in this setting. And so that's where Dan Trachtenberg, the director, that's what I say is like they nailed the tone. And it's similar to another James Cameron movie, Aliens, where the
Yeah.
first Alien is the horror movie, and Aliens is this badass action movie that expands the lore. So Predator Badlands expands the lore in the cinematic universe while delivering tons of action, like the action that would be in a Marvel movie. But it's just with a predator, so there's a lot of alien guts, and that's how they pulled this off. If it was humans, it would be rated R.
Yeah.
But because it's aliens, luckily they can kind of get around, and androids. There's a bunch of androids, and
Interesting.
they can get around, the synthetics, Wayland
Yeah.
Yutani, So,
I prefer the term artificial person myself.
yeah, I wonder. I forget because weren't we talking about Blade Runner? I forgot after we talked. is it synth?
I think they're called synths.
Synthetic?
Yeah.
Okay, because then there's other movies, like there's that Altered Carbon, and aren't they like sleeves or something? Or am I
Yeah,
thinking
which that was an
yeah,
interesting one because they're not synthetic. It was like in Altered Carbon, it's like you almost get like a new
another
human
body.
body, which is
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, so I like it when, I don't think we can use Droid, though. Doesn't George Lucas own Droid?
Does
I've
he?
heard
That's wild.
yeah, it's something like that where you can't really use Droid anywhere. You can use Android, synthetic, and,
Yeah.
um, artificial person. No, so anyway, what this reminds me of is sometimes we'll think of, like, an anime or a movie, maybe Gundam, and be like or an anime, yeah, comic book, whatever. "Oh, you can't make that into a movie." But I think with the right visionary, if you are thinking of tone, you actually can do it, and that's what gives me more, I guess, positive vibes or outlook for the live action Gundam movie
Just a
because
little more faith.
yeah, more faith in it because Jim Mickle actually does good with tone because of what he worked with Sweet Tooth. Even though that's not something I was into at all, I researched it, looked into it, watched some clips. You're dealing with kids, special effects, good cinematography where it's like grounded and realistic. So,
Now,
you know,
do you think that there's like a piece of advice that you could offer a filmmaker or storyteller that would help them dial it in and like maintain a tone throughout their creative work? Or is it something that like you like is there a cheat code to doing it or
I think when you're wanting to show off spectacle, you should treat the framing or the camera as if it's someone looking at it and not like, oh, here's a CGI camera in the air sweeping around because that pulls you out. If you're framed in such a way where it's almost like someone could be there, that really pulls you in. And I
yeah.
think Gundam needs that because of the scale of the mecha, you know? So, yeah, that's a good question though. Um, the verisimilitude, yeah, that word we bring up sometimes, the
Yeah,
realism.
absolutely. I
Mhm.
think that, like, if you've ever watched some of, like, the Gundam, like, the video game cinematics, whether it's, like, Zeonic Front or, like, some of those PS2 era games, they did a lot of those, like, FMV style, like, videos of Gundams fighting, and a lot of it is like you said, it's, like, either on the ground or it's, like, almost like the camera position is, like, on top of a building and you kind of
Right.
see a mobile suit walking across the horizon. I think that they do a very good job in the video games of representing that scale and representing that level of realism where you do feel like this is something that could actually happen.
No,
Um,
for sure. Yeah, there's Gundam games I've seen where I'm like, okay, this is good enough. Spend some more money to upscale the textures and the way this looks would work. I've seen,
yeah,
what was it? I have the channel saved. I'm gonna have to share it sometime. Um, but anyway, it's a YouTuber that makes Gundam mobile suit CGI fight scenes, and he has this Blue Destiny one that came out some time ago. I'll have to find it and share
nice.
it. And it's done so it's like, oh, well, at least hire this guy. He seems to have an eye and an interest, and maybe you can get something out of that. But maybe it's more about hiring someone that knows how to nail something grounded, you know. So
Yeah, I mean, because you can teach technical skill, you can't really teach vision, I've
yeah,
found.
yeah,
Um,
that's
yeah.
true. Okay, so and we're gonna come back to some Gundam movie news here in a second. Because we're just talking about the Gundam movie. But I think it was this week, if I remember correctly, I released the review for the Char SH Figure Arts action figure.
Yeah, side by side with Jackie Chan.
Exactly how it should be. No, great figure, awesome. Can't wait for the Amuro. But yeah, like you said, I can have that on my shelf with the Jackie Chan. It's like these things that I really like. But no, as an action figure collector, it is really cool to have because I think SH Figure Arts can nail things sometimes. I think it's more their anime stuff they really nail. And yeah, I would love to get the whole 1 Year War. But okay, here's the thing. This is $90 to $100, maybe even a little more, and that is kind of a lot.
Yeah,
That I you know, it's one of these things. It is super premium, super high quality, but it still doesn't seem like for the cost it is. It really does seem like there is a little bit of a overcharged. Did you get it? Overcharged.
Yeah.
Because it's that's why they made this first out of all the UC Gundam. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and I go back and forth about it because obviously, products are going to take whatever it takes to make them. Like it's gonna cost a certain amount. There's a certain amount of overhead, and there's a certain amount of demand. Like you may or may not get a certain number of people buying it. But the question of accessibility also matters. When you're talking about growing a franchise that's been around for 45 years and you are trying to expand and grow that franchise, it does not behoove you to create products that are inaccessible to anyone who is not already a diehard
Yeah.
member of that franchise. And what's interesting is I actually saw somebody posted on Instagram. Well, it was Gunpla Razi reposted an article on Instagram. Yoshiyuki Tomino came out and lamented the fact that Gundam has become a franchise, a product,
Oh.
instead of a story. He's expressed his sadness at the state of Gundam being this like cash cow, essentially.
Right. It's funny because like for as much as I endear or I don't know, I admire Tomino and everything he does, sometimes he has these takes that I think he's wrong about because I think the core of Gundam is very resonating
Yeah.
and it's the commercial side that keeps it alive.
And it's also the luxury of somebody that is benefiting directly from the financial success of the franchise. It's like, I wish I had a franchise that I was making royalties on year
Oh,
over year, and I could say, wow, I really hate that this thing that I made is making me so much money.
yeah, that's just yeah.
I'm
And
gonna let my dog in real quick
oh
before
yeah,
she tears the
sure.
door down.
Nah, no problem. And then also I like wonder how much it's like the translations, like whenever we see an article or interview translated, whether it's done, in person, was it recorded, is it just written down? How much is sometimes the translations make a certain artist or anyone from a different language maybe sound like a different personality than they are? Because
I'm glad you
Kojima
brought that
comes
up.
off as like this little happy puppy dog. He's excited about every little thing. But then I hear these things about him cutting off ties with people all the time to get what he wants. And it's like, you
Well,
know,
and that's one of the reasons that I'm such a proponent of video interviews, and I think that AI translated video is going to be the future of these types of things because you're not gonna get that localization interpretation element of it.
oh, wow. Interesting thing, an element where the human element could add a bias, even unintelligent, that's not intelligent, unintentionally. So
No, exactly.
it's
Because
interesting.
even, I've watched lots of Tomino interviews, and even when he's talking, he tends to have this air about him like he's trying to remember something. Like he doesn't come off as angry. He doesn't come off as dismissive. It's almost like a how do I describe the emotion that it's like a very pensive
I know what you
tone.
mean because dismissive came up, but that's too negative to what it is. It's more of
Right.
like a passing, oh, back in that time.
And so then when you
Yeah.
read the subtitles and you read like the text of what he's saying, the translated text of what he's saying, it's like, well, that makes him sound like he's a bit of an a-hole.
Yeah, I know.
But when you see him saying it, it doesn't come off that
Right.
way.
Yeah.
Um,
You never know with that stuff. Like video game developers that I follow a lot from Japan. Sometimes it comes off where like their translation has this weird attitude to it. And and it could just be the more charismatic way in which they are representing ideas that might be a little more informal in Japanese language to maybe Americans reading it or Westerners. It sounds, like being an a-hole. That's interesting. Um,
yeah.
so speaking of that real quick, there was that Tomino interview, and I think I sent you like I downloaded because it was the edited version. It was audio. I had it translated. I downloaded, put it in AI, and and it didn't really seem to say too much more new, interesting things. It seemed like, right? If I remember correctly, didn't you kind of? I sent some of it too, I think.
Yeah.
So you know, I guess I don't know what I'm getting at. That I think I said I was going to make a video, but I don't think it has video material.
That's a good way of putting it. Is it's, it's a lot of ground that he's covered before in other interviews, and um yeah, I just don't think that there's anything new to say. And he's even expressed that, you know, he doesn't he doesn't even consume Gundam works the way that he did a long
Yeah,
time ago. And so it's like, how can you ask someone questions about things that they're no longer a part of? You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like it would be like asking George Lucas, hey, what was it like on the set of the Star Wars sequels? And he'd be like, well, I,
yeah.
I don't know, like I wasn't there.
I mean, speaking of George Lucas, I mean, I put Tomino and George Lucas in the same sort of category. And,
Likewise,
I
yeah.
think George Lucas is having this museum open, and it might be Chicago, unless I'm wrong, and it's California. I don't know, but it's like a museum for other artists that has inspired him. And it looks like a really cool, like sci-fi museum. And like the top of it is more like multiple domes, but it's all grassy fields.
That's very cool.
Yeah, it looks really cool. I need to check that out. You know what? I forgot how we got here to this conversation, because if we don't know, then I have another topic.
Yeah, I think
That
that's a
happens.
segue.
This is like normal hangout conversation. You know what I mean? That's what's funny about this. Well, because I wanted to bring this up. From P Bandai, I got the Gundam Nyan, which I want to say I ordered it live one time when I think we were both I think I was on your show maybe, where we were talking about the Witch from Mercury kits, and I was like,
Yeah.
man, look at these kits. And so I ordered that Gundam Nyan premium Bandai, but what I was disappointed with was in the shipping box, even with the bubble wrap around it, it was all bent and damaged. Even part of the bubble wrap was like taped to it. So I took a picture of it, but it's like, I feel like when
Premium
I'm ordering,
busted.
when I'm ordering something premium Bandai, I feel like that's wrong. That like but it's like I don't want to complain. What am I going to email them and be like, I need a new box, but I did pay for it. It's
Yeah.
weird.
I
don't know.
mean, there's you do pay for packaging, like, as someone who designs packaging and
Yeah.
manufactures products, I can tell you that there is a sunk cost in the packaging. So when a consumer buys something, they expect the packaging to be, it doesn't have to be perfect, but you don't expect it to be crushed, even if the product inside is in pristine condition.
And it seems like P Bandai, I would think they do this like single tone or whatever color to
Yeah.
save money on printing cost, right? And so it's kind of weird. But just to get some color out of this, I pulled the manual out.
There you go.
It's so crazy how I will pick a suit and like a suit. You know what I mean? Like this is something from Witch from Mercury, and it's just I love the way this looks. Like if this was the Ariel, like if this was the Gundam design in Witch from Mercury, I would be more on board. And so here's my dilemma. I just got this. I just got the what was it? The Zirius or
Yeah.
Zilius. I forget which is the non-racist way to say it. And then I got the Fat Cat, the master grade of the real grade 2.0. And I got that Mecha Godzilla Gundam.
The Gundam Godzilla. The Godzundam. I don't know.
Ooh, Godzundam. There's something there.
There's
Godzundam.
something.
It's but anyway, so it's like, I mean, I have a backlog also, but it's like I was working on the Zirius, so I really should just finish that. Would you agree?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of disappointed in myself. What happens is I buy these kits because they look badass. Then I'm like, well, then I'll make a video eventually. But what happens is things like a SH Figure Arts Char or a Robot Spirits Yakushiki, or even the Robot Spirits Core Booster come in, and then I prefer to review those.
I mean, it's a lot easier to crack open a box of a figure that's already complete than it is to build a model kit and,
exactly. If this was an action figure, this Gundam Nyan, I would have bought it immediately. Like that's kind of where I am in this. Like I bought the kit of it because that's the only way I can play with my robot. So no,
Well, I still need to build my Fair Act along the
oh,
same
that's
lines.
right.
Yeah.
Both Witch for Mercury and Noah, both of us have even talked about doing joint build streams. And we always talk about it. We got to do it. I'm sure there's some holiday time coming up that maybe if we can get away from our families for an hour or two, we need to do a joint build stream because
I think so.
it's a way for us to work on our content.
And it's
And
a
get
way
stuff
for us to
built.
chew through this backlog.
Yeah, exactly. Is there an item in your backlog that's been there for a while that you think about a lot?
The one that I think about the most, especially with Pencil Knights dropping the second part of the Wing Zero custom LED commission that he did, is it's the perfect grade Zeta.
Yeah,
Like,
that's okay. That's
I've
a
been
good one.
sitting on that thing for like 4 years, and you know what, I feel like I'm just never going to be ready for it. But then when I see Pencil Knights do this amazing stuff where it's like he put lights in the cockpit of the Wing Zero, and then my favorite part was the 3D printed like the muzzle flash from the
Oh,
Gatlings, and so he
yeah.
created like muzzle flash add-ons that light up as if the Gatling guns on the shoulders of the Wing Zero are firing. I'm like, man,
That's a good idea. If
that's
tech
pretty cool.
parts, yeah.
Do that
Wow.
with like the grenade launcher on the Zeta wrist. I think that would be
Oh,
sick.
like smoke firing out and then the grenades at the end or something. So yeah, that's a good idea for the next main thing, that perfect grade Zeta, and do like you would want to do your best because that is the perfect
I'd put
grade
my
Zeta.
soul into it for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
What about you?
Well, I would say it's the Toadsritter.
Yeah,
I
you
can't
have been sitting on that one for a while.
I know. I remember played it in the game. I got it in GBO2. Yeah, what game was it? Missing Link.
Yeah.
And then I got it in GBO2, and I'm like, I love this. There's so many lore reasons too. And then so I went on eBay to buy the kit because like it was, even though P Bandai would re-release it, I spent 70 on eBay, which is okay for a P Bandai that wasn't, but then when they re-release, you can get it cheaper. But
Yeah.
I just need to build it.
Well, and
So.
that's a tricky one because you have to make a choice. You have to choose whether you're
Oh,
going
I
to do
know.
the Hades version or the standard version, and so then you're like,
Well, I think I figured out now how I decide that. When I was playing Eternal and I could get the Blue Destinies, I went for the exam versions that I leveled up. So
well,
I
but
think
that's
I like that.
gameplay because the exam versions are better than the other ones. So it's like,
And so that's how I should then build.
there you go.
Actually, I think my Blue Destiny Robot Spirits that's up there, I have it with the exam on anyway. So yeah,
Yeah.
man, you know what? I feel like Blue Destiny, like I think everyone just agrees it's cool, but it's never really chewed on. You know, we never really we know the main concept is pretty cool, the main character, and then between the type of ground Gundams they are, and then the Efreet, like those, it's just all of it is cool. Like,
And I like Nimbus is a cool bad
oh
guy.
yeah,
Like,
Nimbus Nurtzer. I forget
I'm
his
not even
last.
gonna try to butcher his last name, but yeah,
Yeah,
Sturtzen.
yeah.
Yeah, Nimbus he's one of those calm, cool, collected, compared to like someone like oh, what is his name? Mallet, the from one of the other Gundam side stories. He pilots the Act Saku, and I think it's
Yeah, I don't.
Mallet Sanguine. But yeah, he's
Makes
like
it worth going through
totally
again.
unhinged, deranged. You know,
Oh.
he gets injured and has like all these bandages on his face, and like ends
It's
up
like
looking like
Zoltan versus oh my god, what's that guy's? The Goof
Jonah
Custom
Basta.
pilot.
Jonah Basta.
No, I was thinking. No, I don't mean verse. Like really, I mean the personalities. The Goof Custom
Oh,
pilot from 08 MS team, Norse Packard.
Yeah, exactly.
His type of personality versus Zoltan personality. They're like these extreme ends of the antagonist.
And you talked about that last night, where it's like
Yeah,
your ideal antagonist is a calm, cool, collected, you
yeah,
know, uh,
calculating,
calculating villain, not
and
this.
that
Yeah.
there's a real evil to make them an actual antagonist, like we talked about. Not that it's you feel sorry for them, and so well, okay, I guess they can murder millions. you know, it's and I really liked we talked about that just because with and you guys got to go back and listen if you didn't because the Darth Vader connection with Anakin, like yes, he truly is evil, and Shar, yeah, he is because the choices he made, leading up to okay. So let's get into some other things real quick. Yeah. So that backlog thing was a pretty cool discussion. And I like how then we go into whatever else. Um,
Always.
okay. So speaking of Gundam movies and stuff, so this just got released. I hadn't really looked at it yet. So it just says the staff for Mobile Suit Gundam Hathaway, the sorcery of Nymph Circe, if that's how you pronounce it. The second
Yeah.
film, the Mobile Suit Gundam Hathaway anime project, revealed more cast on Thursday. The new cast will voice the crew members of MAFTI support ship Valiant. But from what I understand, I don't even think there's English cast yet.
Really?
But what was interesting was when they were doing the expo about a month ago, they had the English cast talk, but so I don't know if they announced it yet or it's just implied. Yeah, they're going to come back and do it. But okay, so from these characters we're seeing, I don't necessarily remember seeing them all. Maybe these two guys down here from the first Hathaway. I didn't really pay attention too much.
Yeah, I don't
Um,
recognize any of them, to be honest with you.
I do like this top left, second from left. That's an interesting design for a
Yeah,
character.
I think she's got a pair of fantastic assets.
Yeah.
She's
But
been the topic of a lot of heated discussion on Twitter, I've noticed. Uh,
okay. Is that true? Yeah, they
yeah.
always have to have that bait in there. But no,
Now, the first character though, Brinks Wedge, the one in the sailor hat,
is that his name?
that's his name is Brinks Wedge. He
That's amazing.
he looks like a Metalocalypse character, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's a really good one.
Like he looks like
The
he would be
bassist,
right alongside what was
Murderface.
it? Yeah.
Well, no, he looks like Murderface next Nathan Explosion. Hey, but that I think that's interesting you brought it up because doesn't Hathaway have more of that sort of type of hand-drawn where it's almost beyond the anime into the realism like you would first see in those cartoons on SNL?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then they started doing the Metalocalypse. That's a good observation.
Yeah, he would definitely be played by Bert Kreischer in the live action.
Yeah, that's funny. But I gotta say, okay, this is what I always admire about anime, and it's that intentionality that you discuss. When creating
Yeah.
characters, I think it's part of that creative expressive progress process that each character is going to look different because
Mhm.
the creator, the artist is going to be like, okay, this is this character, and I'm going to have them have this and this. And then you move on. It's different than maybe casting a movie or something, especially if you're looking for an actor and it could be that a bunch of good actors might look similar,
Yeah,
whereas,
and
yeah,
sometimes actors may do a good job in the role, but don't necessarily look the part. I know that that was
yeah.
a big concern around Christian Bale in that Thor movie is like, he
Oh,
was just coming off the back of a movie where he had to lose a whole bunch of weight, and the character he was playing in the comic books was supposed to be this, like, totally buff, like, shredded
oh,
villain, and so they played it like he's emaciated and, like, weak in the movie, but that was because they were more committed to the actor than committed to making it look close to the role that he was supposed to be
which
playing.
That's interesting because sometimes you want to commit to the actor, but when it comes to these stories that have a lot to do with world building, you want to stick to the source material, because there's a lot
Yeah,
of intention behind that.
and I know it's silly, but it's like even something as, as ridiculous as the tan lines that this character has, like, that tells a story, you
Yeah,
know?
exactly. That's part I was going to say. That's the thirst character, but at the same time, there's a lot of uniqueness going on when it comes to just character design. And
Mhm.
in some ways that are done in a very superficial manner is like the third character at the top, where it's just here's some blue streaks in their hair.
Yeah.
That doesn't really do anything, but that actually helps as you're watching, where you can identify the character just in case the anime faces blend. Even though Hathaway does a great job of the
Yeah, easy
designs
now.
are.
This isn't Gundam Seed.
Oh my, that is that's I will never ever understand. I think that has to be a time and place where you're just accepting these faces drawn this way because you're young and there's nothing else on TV. That's if they could remake Seed with face animation like Hathaway, it would probably be the best Gundam ever.
I think so. I mean, that's a very astute observation. I mean, just get Yasuhiko to redesign all the Seed
Yeah.
characters.
Oh, that's a really cool idea. I would love it to make Kira look like oh, I ruined the joke because I wasn't quick. Make Kira look like Kai. That's and I think that would make I don't know. So I just want to end. I think this is really cool. Well, check this out. The film has been delayed to January 30th, 2026. Huh. Oh, because it was originally going to open in Japan this year with North American screenings to follow.
Yeah.
Interesting. So it got delayed. So that's the first I heard of that. But this could mean that we're going to start getting more neat Hathaway like drops. I don't know of story. Like I don't know how much there's going to be new tech. Are we going to see new mobile suits?
We might see a couple different like variants of the
Like a Gustav Karl or
the Gustav
Messer?
Karl or the Messers. Yeah.
Uh, I mean, it would be cool if they could add something like maybe a GM variant during that time. I'm
Because they
down
still
for
haven't
that.
released a Manhunter variant of the Jagan, right?
Oh, as a model kit, no, I don't
Yeah,
think
there
so.
you go. The
Yeah,
Manhunter Jagan.
that's a good idea. Especially this time, the political climate. That's like the um. Oh my god, I could just see that customized and put ice on the shield.
Oh no.
I don't know.
I hereby declare MAFTI a terrorist
Yeah.
organization.
There's a lot of good jokes there. Okay.
Oh,
Um, I want to go back to the Gundam movie news real quick. So I was really trying to find a source. The source is like, unless there was maybe another interview linked somewhere. I'm just seeing this paragraph where this guy said he asked, and the guy that said it is the guy writing it, so it's from him. But saying I interviewed her, asked
of
her.
course, I made it up.
Yeah, that's that's what it could be. So he asked her, "Hey, any movement on the Gundam movie?" And Sydney Sweeney said there is every single day. So that's like first confirmation from her. Jim Mickle confirmed she was in it, and
True.
now she has confirmed she's in it. And the every single day goes in line with when I was talking about her hair recently has been cut to be the size and shape of Sayla's hair, and they're working on it every single day. And especially the rumor about the other guy that was cast that looks like he would be a good Char. I mean, I think, man,
The stars are aligning, so to speak.
I mean, how often do we see movie trailers come out of nowhere and they're like, whoa, they're making this movie? Predator Badlands is a good example. That trailer came out and I'm like, what? WTF? Where did this come from? Has that happened with another movie that's sort of a big deal? And then it's like, here's this trailer and it's like, what?
We live in a kind of a weird time where it's very hard because of social media
Yeah.
to keep things under wraps, which is unfortunate in some ways because it kind of takes the magic out of filmmaking. But at the same time, it's exciting for guys like you and I that we want to see these things moving forward, and we're not just kind of sitting here twiddling our thumbs and hoping that there's production happening. So it's nice to even a snippet like this that says, yep, we're doing it.
Yeah, and what makes me think too, let's say the main cast, they're always like on board a white base or in a cockpit. How, with the production of this, they're probably able to keep it contained How they're doing the scenes and all that.
I mean, they're probably doing so much volume shooting, Mandalorian style, and
Yeah, I bet for like the mobile suit battles and all that, like even having a cockpit that's built and then like the volume behind it or around it, yeah, like the Millennium Falcon. Oh man, that would be so cool. Yeah. Anyway, here's our next update for I'm trying to collect all the news I can for the Gundam movie as it comes out, and so there's another little tidbit.
you ought to start releasing articles of your own where you quote yourself.
Yeah, and it's like from the source. It's UC.
Popular film commentator Adam Blue of Gundam Explained noted that
it takes place during Universal Century. Like that's something I would probably claim. It's like I don't know, but I'm pretty sure it's true. I forgot to add, they did change the IMDb description of the movie. Instead of it talking about it being in the 1 Year War or whatever, or an adaptation of the original, it just says that it's based on an anime of Mecha. So that doesn't really, again, mean anything, but they did change that up. Okay. So
I wish
speaking of,
there was an audit trail on IMDb where you could see who made the edit.
I wonder if you can, like, I don't know if you have to sign up for something like that. I might have to test that out later. Like, because isn't it like that with Wikipedia?
I think so.
And you know what? I bet if you go to the Gundam wiki, it's Ollie Barter on everything. I don't know.
No, he's uncredited. He's going to tell everybody he's been uncredited.
Yeah. Okay, but speaking of movies again and mecha movies, when I was on IMDb, I found this cool list someone made of just a bunch of mecha titles, 41 mecha titles, because I do feel like the mecha genre is underutilized in Western media in general, especially live action movies.
It's true.
This first one, 1989, Gunhead. Now, I heard about this and haven't watched it yet, and I really want to. Have you heard about it?
I have never heard about it, but like
the special effects are awesome. Like, look at the.
So it's got some cyberpunk. Yeah, this looks sweet.
I know, right? So, yeah, I need to check that out sometime. Okay. Pacific Rim Uprising. I personally, the first one was enjoyable. The second one, I think I just got bored and stopped watching.
Yeah.
And I don't even think the first one's a bad movie. It's just it doesn't really do anything. And even though the spectacle looks cool, it's filmed like that way I was talking about, where it's a lot of like superhero cameras, and there's not a lot of verisimilitude.
Yeah, it's not grounded at all. It's
Yep. Did you happen to see Uprising?
I did, yeah, and I felt the same way. It's like, and it's funny how even if you look at the meta scores here, it's like it's reflected in that too. Is that the sequel was just very underwhelming for what we wanted.
All right, this next one, Godzilla against Mechagodzilla.
Hey,
I love this era of Godzilla. That's a good one.
Yeah,
I also like how they do the Mechagodzilla in. Now, I don't remember how they do the story of the old one, but I know for this era, it had where, because there was a Mechagodzilla and they used some of the DNA or the blood or whatever in the Mechagodzilla to whatever, like, I guess Mothra, or would it be Godzilla would keep coming to destroy because it had to destroy it? Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. So they didn't realize they were causing Godzilla to keep attacking because it was trying to destroy the Mechagodzilla, because the Mechagodzilla had Godzilla blood or DNA to be it's a neat kind of cyclical story.
It's cool. I mean, it's like a Godzilla version of Looper.
Oh yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, Looper. Rian Johnson, you just had to bring him up.
I can't help myself.
So here's then the Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla and Terror of Mechagodzilla. I hadn't seen either. Well, I had when I was a kid, but I haven't bothered in modern times rewatching those. I don't know if you have in any recent memory.
Not recently, no. But you know, this begs the question because here we have 4 Mecha Godzilla movies in a row. Do we
Yeah,
consider Mecha Godzilla a mecha movie despite being more of a kaiju movie? Like Pacific
that is
Rim
a
gets the benefit of the doubt because there are mecha in it, but like how do you define mecha?
no, that's a good point. I think mecha is any giant robot that you're piloting and fighting with, and I think a mecha movie can have kaiju, but a kaiju movie can't have mech. No, I don't know. I'm just making something up. Maybe there's something there where maybe it doesn't matter. That's interesting. That's an interesting topic to philosophize on.
Yeah. Because
Um,
like, you know, do Michael Bay Transformers movies count as mecha movies?
and I would say no because they're
Yeah.
robots in
There's no
disguise.
pilots. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no pilots. Yeah,
It's gotta have a
exactly.
pilot.
Yeah. And so, but to kind of go on what you were saying there, I wouldn't even count these two Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla movies because I feel like the tone is really setting up for the robot is just a skin for the kaiju. Whereas in the Godzilla against Mechagodzilla in 2002, they treat that Mechagodzilla like a mech, like the weaponry, they got to repair it, all that type of stuff. So here's something interesting. In 1993, they did a Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla 2. Okay. Which is just a sequel to Godzilla, but that's a separate continuity,
Yeah.
but it's actually more of a mech in that movie. So kind of go back to what we were talking about in the 90s with the Godzilla movies, they were making them a little more grounded. One of them is absolutely insane, the King Ghidorah one.
Just one of them?
Well, yeah, but but they do a good job because it's
No.
like the JSDF, the Japanese Defense Force. I forget what it is, but it has like a Mecha Godzilla head emblem on the hat, and
Yeah.
so it's like an official, thing. And yeah, so I think they do that well. Okay, so Godzilla Tokyo SOS 2003 is a direct sequel to Godzilla against Mechagodzilla, but I will say even though there's a lot of cool mecha action, this is more of a kaiju thing because it's like all these kaiju come together.
Okay. I didn't
Oh,
see that one.
yeah, I'm telling you, that era, it's like the Millennium era of Godzilla. It's like where there was like peak miniature and suit special effects.
Yeah.
That's why I love it. Okay, so Godzilla versus Kong. It's interesting how a lot of the top mecha are really just kaiju. It kind of again bouncing off what you're saying. But
Yeah.
in Godzilla vs. Kong, they did have the Mecha Godzilla. It was piloted, and it was a pretty badass mecha. If you remember, do you remember that one? Did you
I didn't
see?
see it. Yeah.
So if you get a chance, watch Godzilla vs. Kong. I think it's good for what it is, and it has a badass interpretation of the Mecha Godzilla. There's a guy that pilots it, kind of.
Kind of.
But yeah. And next, it's reminding me of Pacific Rim, if I remember correctly. The piloting, I think there's something to that. But see, here's the thing: Pacific Rim again, Shattered Dome Strike. I've never heard of this
A 3D large format film. So this was like you know, not even a real
movie. And
movie.
so that's the thing. When we get to number 10 in the top 10, were just Godzilla films. Like it kind of tells you, like, again, the standing of mecha in cinema. Like, I'm surprised, you know.
I think that a lot of it is the framing though. You know, you look at the people that oh man, I'm looking down further down the list now and
Yeah,
I'm getting even more disappointed. When you have articles like this that create lists of mecha movies and they don't address even some of the most like recent mecha movies, like the one on Netflix, Atlas. You know, it's like,
oh yeah, that, you know what,
you
this
know,
might have been made before.
it could have been for sure,
Yeah.
but like it does make you wonder not if there's like it's a little conspiratorial for me to suggest that there's a conspiracy to like suppress mecha stuff, but it does
Oh
make you
yeah.
wonder. It's like, you know, because you and I both know that there is more mecha out there than what's in this list. And so if the top 10 doesn't even cover the stuff
Right.
that you and I know about, then it makes you wonder if the meme, so to speak, of like, oh, mecha's dead or like mecha's not popular in the West, is that like a self-fulfilling prophecy? You know, it's like,
Yeah, I know what you mean, because it's almost like yeah, these movies are cool that you selected, but that's actually not the point of like the Mecha movie.
yeah.
Which like Power Rangers, like I know, I guess that's what you're seeing. So that's one thing I liked about Power Rangers when I was a kid, was not only did they do martial arts, but they also had a giant robot they piloted. And
Well, 5 of them that combined into one
right.
giant robot. Like,
So it would be hard for me to say that's a mecha movie. It's just a cool action movie that has mech
yeah.
stuff in it, mech action. Like, and so that's something else that we can consider with this list, since this is just a list that says mechas. Maybe it's people that are like, oh, these movies have a mech in it, which then I would want Aliens to be on the list, because the Power Loader was my first mech. And I love it. But a couple things I want to say. So the Power Rangers 2017 movie, I liked it.
Really? I still haven't seen it.
Oh, I think it's perfectly fine. It could have had a sequel. Um, and I bet that's why it didn't do as well, because it was like they played it like straight and respectfully straight, to where
Mm,
you could see, yeah, I guess it could be a little boring, because they're actually playing it, the characters, what they're going through and all that. But
well, number 15, like Turbo, a Power Rangers movie, that one kind of messed me up as a kid because my favorite Power Ranger at the time was the Blue Ranger. And so in the first 5 minutes of the movie, they're in a martial arts tournament and he breaks his back. Like
yeah, I
cripples him.
remember. I never
I'm
saw
like,
that, but I remember you telling me about that. And I, I remember that time period, because when that movie was coming out, I remember feeling like Power Rangers went away.
yeah,
So that 1995 movie, I loved that.
so
Uh,
good.
and even the CGI looks bad now, but back then that was amazing to see that if you're a Power Rangers fan. Like, I think they nailed it, in my opinion. That's an example of tone done right. Ninja
Yeah.
Turtles movie, the Power Rangers movie, like those are the tone, because that's like the Predator Badlands I was talking about. Like, it's doing things seriously. It's taking itself seriously, but having fun doing it. You know,
Yeah.
I guess that's
Yeah.
a good way to put it. Whereas the Taika Waititi thing is, it's not taking itself seriously, it's just trying to have fun, and then you kind of lose.
And you see a lot of people in interviews talking about how being on the set of a Taika Waititi project is like they're like, it's so much fun. Like, nothing matters. Like there's no pressure. There's no like and it's like, well, I don't if you're creating something that's supposed to be entertainment for other people, like I would hope that you care about it. Like I would
Yeah,
hope that you're not just phoning it in because you're just having a good time on set.
yeah, I know. That's or because you're a part of this, so I want to be here, even though I
Yeah.
don't. So these next movies, I could be incorrect, but they're either all related, and either they are sequels, or it's the production company, or it's like an offshoot producer. The only one of these I've seen is Robot Jocks.
So
Um,
good.
okay, yeah, it's a
Yeah.
great movie.
Fantastic. So underrated too because
Yes,
of, like, all of the corporate espionage going on and, like,
yeah,
there's,
I
like, the
know.
Texas guy that's like, "We have a spy in our midst," and
Yeah, I know. See, that's what I find very interesting, how that's ideas for movies, storytelling with robots and stuff, that it's like you would think that would be a much more mainstream thing nowadays. That's really, but it's not. And so yeah, the other ones, Crash and Burn, Robot Wars, and Robo Warriors. Haven't seen them, but apparently they're all the either same production company or
I mean,
um
considering that crash and burn is what the jocks say to each other in Robot Jocks,
oh
it
yeah,
wouldn't
okay, so
surprise me if that was tied in somehow.
there we go. Yeah, because I want to say Charles Band and Albert Band are brothers, and then like
Huh.
Charles Band was the producer of Robot Jocks that he had Stuart Gordon direct, and I
Yeah.
think it was something like that. Um okay. So there's some interesting like 70s Japanese movies I've never seen that would be actually interesting to look. Like, think of all the cool movies that might have came out in Japan that just weren't ever mainstream overseas, that just have neat special effects or stuff.
Yeah.
So Super Robot Red Baron, Sounds awesome. No, okay, it says Super Saiyan Institute member because I was thinking maybe it was a play on the World War I Red Baron.
It could have been, something like a play on that. It could have been a play on, the Red Comet, like the
Oh
Red
yeah.
Comet being a play on the Red Baron. Like there's probably like
Oh, this is from 73.
oh, so this came before Gundam then.
Yeah. Interesting.
There you go.
Super Robot, the Super Robot Red Baron. I wonder if, yeah, maybe something came from that. And it's a series. See, that's
Yeah.
pretty cool. Yeah, there was another one. Okay, a movie called Bravestorm. I'm not going to read them all. Oh, here we go.
Pat Labor.
Yeah. Okay, so it's a live action TV show? A live action TV show. You got to be kidding me. Did you ever know about this?
No idea.
Let's see. Let's go to videos. This one is like one of the sequels. Okay. I see what we're working with. This has that Millennium era Godzilla special effects.
Yeah.
Okay, show us another robot, please. Let me
Scrub to the good stuff.
Oh, there we go. Okay, holy macaroni. I'm gonna be watching this. Look at that. There's martial arts and they're wearing Meta VR. Okay. Pat Labor, Tokyo War. Okay, I guess there's TV shows. Next Generation, Pat Labor, and then Tokyo War.
So Tokyo War being the movie.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay, Tokyo War is a movie, and then there's the series. Yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay. Wow. That's cool. Okay. Let's see. Some of these like Voltes, or I've like seen but don't know. Atlantic Rim. Okay, now the guy's just throwing in.
Come on now.
Anything.
Don't. What? Is that a Wayans Brothers movie?
Which one?
Atlantic Rim.
Oh, like a comedy version of I bet it's those what do you call them, the asylum video movies or whatever.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Oh, the Untitled Live Action Gundam movie. Yeah. They have the colon in the wrong spot here, which no one wants to hear that sentence if you think about it.
Certainly not.
Let's see. Yeah, the Gundam Build Reel. I remember I watched that. It was cool, but a little cheesy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Atlas is on here.
Okay, so they did have Atlas in here.
Yeah. So like this Mechazoic sounds neat. Mech X4. What? Okay. Great Dangaio. That sounds very familiar. Dangaio. Great. Does that sound familiar to you?
I always mix those up with like, Gao Gaigar and
in the Dreamcast game Bangaio. So okay, I guess that's probably what. Okay,
all those super robots,
I know some of those names are very similar, but it's funny because sometimes I haven't done this recently, but I would go like just put on a random anime. And then the tech would look neat, but then the story or the other stuff, it's like, what do I stay for the tech? Anyway, no, that was pretty fun. I think out of this list, I'm gonna try to hit up Gunhead, but also the Pat Labor TV series. Now so apparently that's the Mecha we have. What from that would you watch next if you had to pick?
Definitely the Pat Labor series and movie because obviously I'm a fan of the anime, so I think that
that's cool.
Well,
yeah. So yeah, I think that's it, guys. That's about time. Yeah, good discussion here. It's funny how it does always slant to movies. It's very interesting.
Funny how that works out.
Yeah, I know. Can't wait for the more Gundam news to come out. But anyway. Yeah, that's all for this week, guys. We'll be back next week with some more. Be sure to check out Steven's show from yesterday. We had a lot of fun there. We're talking the story stuff, villains. We'll be back next week with some more. Anything else to add?
No, you guys have a great weekend. Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right. Well, we will see you.